You know how some messages just stick with you long after you've seen them? Well, what if that's not by accident, but by design? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a script from a fictional recovery center. We're going to deconstruct it to see exactly how a message of hope is built from the ground up. Okay, right out of the gate, this line hits hard. It sets the stakes incredibly high. It doesn't just say addiction is bad for you. That's weak. Instead, look at that word steal. It turns addiction into a thief. And it's not just stealing your health, it's stealing your whole life, your very identity. That kind of language immediately frames this as a total crisis. So, with the stakes set that high, the story has to show us how we even got here. This is Act 1, the path into addiction. And like a lot of journeys that go wrong, this one starts with what feels like a simple choice. And the power here is all in the contrast. It kicks off with something that sounds so casual, almost harmless, right? A drink, a pill, a smoke. And then, bam, the hammer drops. Addiction takes control. That sudden shift from casual to catastrophic gives you this visceral feeling of a floor dropping out from under you. They take this incredibly complex process and boil it down to a simple 3-act tragedy. First, there's the hook. It feels fun. Okay, that makes sense. Then comes the chemical reality. The brain craves more. Uh-oh. And finally, the trap springs shut. Addiction takes control. Framing it this way makes the whole slide into addiction feel logical, relentless, and almost unstoppable. All right, so the trap has been set. Now the story has to show us the damage. This is where that internal struggle we just saw explodes outward, and we start to see the real, tangible cost of it all. And just listen to the verbs they use here. They are deliberately violent. Damages, breaks, shatters. These aren't passive things that just happen. They're actions. It paints a picture of addiction as this destructive force, just tearing through every single part of a person's life. And right here, after all that darkness, after all that shattering, comes the pivot. It all hangs on one tiny but powerful word, but. This is the turning point of the entire story. It's the signal that this isn't just a story about falling apart, it's about to become a story about getting back up. You know, every great story has this moment. The hero is at their lowest point, and a guide appears. And that is exactly what the script does next. The organization is introduced, not as a sterile clinic, but as a catalyst, as the mentor who knows the way out of the woods. Even the name is doing a ton of work here. The Way Back. That's not a treatment, that's a journey home. Welfare society, that implies community, warmth, people who care, not a cold institution. It's positioned as the direct answer, the hope and healing, to counter all the despair we saw before. So now we get to the final act, the resolution, and this is crucial. It's not just about offering help, it's about painting a really clear, vivid picture of what a new beginning actually looks and feels like. This line, wow. It's so simple, but it might be the most powerful one in the whole script. After hearing about how addiction steals your life and breaks families, this message is the perfect antidote. It speaks directly to that profound feeling of isolation that lies at the heart of the struggle. It's just engineered for comfort. Now this is the final call to action, and it is brilliant. Notice that these aren't passive promises. It's not, you will be fixed. No. These are strong, active verbs. They are empowering commands that put you back in the driver's seat. Break free, rebuild, start again. It's a promise that you get your power back. And the whole story gets tied together with this final tagline. The key word, the one that does all the work, is path. It reinforces that recovery isn't some magic fix, it's not a switch you flip. It's a structured, forward-moving journey, which, of course, is the exact story that we've just been walked through. So, when you put it all together, you see how a simple story structure, problem, pivot, and resolution can create an incredibly powerful and emotional message, which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. How much does a simple metaphor, like a path, actually change the way we see a challenge as huge and complex as recovery? It really goes to show that the stories we tell don't just reflect our world, in a lot of ways, they actively shape it.